All right, we'll get started here. First of all, I just want to thank you all for being here. Enjoy this day every year. I really appreciate this day. You know, this is the day these guys realize their dream, man. And I know I might have said this last year, but I'm gonna probably say it again next year. But this is when they realize their dream. I love to see their eyes light up when they walk out on that field, because finally you work your butt off. You went to the combine, you went to the Senior Bowl, and finally you an NFL football player. And so that's exciting for these guys, whether they're drafted, whether they're free agents, or whether they're tryout guys. They are in a football facility, and they got a chance to play in the National Football League. And going in saying that, I'll just talk about our draft class, our rookie class, I mean. So we got 6 draft pick and 15 undrafted rookie free agents. And we have a deep roster, so it's going to be a lot of competition here, and our veterans, they ain't going to give up nothing. These guys going to have to earn everything they got. I don't care where you were drafted at. You're going to have to earn everything you got. But we're excited about this rookie class. I'll kick it off with the top guy, Terrion Arnold. Extremely confident, extremely talented young man. He got the corner swag that you like. He believes he can cover anybody, and that's the guy you need at that position. You need a confident guy. You need a guy who believes in himself, and he's one of those guys. Very intriguing player. We were glad to be able to get him. We didn't think he would be there, and he was there, and we had a chance to get a really good football player who we think is going to help us build a really good team. And then after him is another confident guy, Rakestraw, Mr. Rakestraw, what I call him, Enos Rakestraw. I love the way he plays the game. The guy is competitive. He believes in himself. He loves to challenge receivers. Love the way he plays the game. He's physical. Try to get his hands on receivers. So that's the type of guys we want to play in this defense. So we're excited about both of those guys. But they got their hands full. Carlton Davis is a heck of a football player. He's played a lot of football in this National Football League. Emmanuel Mosley, when he's healthy, he's as good as anybody at covering man. Along with Amik Robinson, who's a tough, physical, aggressive player himself. So there's going to be a lot of competition there in that room, which is great. Competition breeds the best out of anybody. So we're excited about that. And probably one of the guys that I get a little happy about the most is, because I love the big fellas, it's Giovanni Manu. What a talented young man. Here's a guy that he got a ways to go as a football player, but what better place to come in and learn how to be an offensive tackle in the National Football League than playing behind Panay Sewell, and Taylor Decker. I mean, he got time to learn, then coached by Hank Fraley. So excited about this young man, and it's more just his athletic ability. If you meet this young man, he is an outstanding human being, first of all. He's not entitled. He's appreciative of everything. He got a great story. I'll let him tell you his story. I won't kill it, but he has a great story. And we started to hear about this guy through his workouts, and it's like, wait, we got to get our eyes on this guy. So we turned the tape on, and man, he wasn't playing against, the guys he was playing against wasn't very good, but they weren't NFL level. I shouldn't say they weren't very good, but man, you watched his feet, his athletic ability, the way he competed, the way he finished blocks, man, and it's like, man, this guy's got some stuff. So we got him in, and then when we got a chance to meet the kid, he's built. He's a lion. He's a lion football player. He's built the way we want. He's the type of player. He's wired right. I mean, this kid's gonna work his butt off. And he was still doing full padded practices in 2 days. So they don't. Over where he come from, they don't. I'm not gonna say that. They still practice a little hard over there than our college guys do. But very excited about that young man. Can't wait to see where he's gonna go in his career. He got some development to do, but he got a chance to be a really good player in the National Football League. And then we go to Sione Vaki. So we watching Vaki as a safety, and we like, oh man, he's got a pretty good player. He'll come down, he'll strike and hit. Then all of a sudden they need to move. They needed some running back help, and they moved this kid to running back. And we was like, wait a minute, this kid is really natural, as a runner, and he got better and better, as a runner. The more he got chances to play, he got better and better. And then started catching the ball out of the backfield. He looked really natural. So we moved from safety to running back, And then the guy is an outstanding special teams player on top of that, So we got intrigued by the guy, and we had a chance to get him, and we think this guy's going to be a weapon for us. We think he's going to be a heck of a football player. He's going to bring a lot to the table special teams-wise, and also he got a chance as a running back. And then next guy, he's a big fella. I still think he's a big fella. Wingo, D lineman. First thing about he's a St. Louis kid. As I told you before, when we drafted J-Mo, those kids got some toughness to them. I lived in St. Louis for 20 years. My kids played Little League football there. They came up through the high schools there. Those kids got some toughness to them. This kid graduated from the high school that my kids went to. I know what this kid's all about. He's a lion. He's wired right. Now he's a little sawed off, a little shorter, but man, he's quick. He's twitchy. He's passionate about ball. He loves the game, and the guy is instinctive. He's gonna be a disruptor. He's a heck of a football player, and he has a chip over his shoulder. And the chip on the shoulder is because people have always said he's too small, but he was dominant at Missouri when he was there in the SEC. He went to LSU. He was dominant there. So the guy's a football player first, and I'm excited about him. We're excited about him. Great kid. He wears number 18 there at LSU, and that guy is, he's the top player on the team as football character and personal character, which means he's the best on and off the field. He's a great human being. So we're excited about him. I just met Jesuit High School there in St. Louis, Missouri. My kids graduated from there. Their motto is men for others, and this is the way this guy lives. So he's an outstanding human being. So we're excited about him also. And then the big fella, Christian Mahogany, tough, competitive, loves the way he finished. He's a guy that, as a defensive lineman, when the ball's intercepted, you're looking for him to go get him back. You're going to pay him back for some of the stuff he's done, because he plays that way. He finishes everything. He's competitive. He's tough. He's physical. Love the way the guy played the game. He's a lion also. He plays just the way we want to play up front. So excited about these guys. And then all the undrafted guys, we're excited about those guys also. I won't go through all their names, but, this class we're excited about. These guys, they play football the way we want to play. They love the game, and they're passionate about the game, and they all tough, and they all competitive. So after saying all that, I open up for questions.
You were doing the evaluation process. What was the one thing that maybe just kept sticking out about him and his game that you just maybe kept going back to and saying this is really a fit for us?
Competitive nature, willingness to challenge receivers, not afraid, He played against some good football players, but, toe-to-toe, ready to go, competitive. I would just say the competitive nature and ability to cover man stood out to me.
You mentioned Gio. You called him a tackle. I think we all thought he was, but he said in an interview after the draft that you'd start him at guard. What do you guys see that he can play that? What are the plans for him?
Well, we'll cross-train. We'll cross-train a lot of guys. We'll cross-train him guard and tackle. That's more of a question for Dan and Ben and Hank than me, but we do a lot of that cross-training guard and tackle. But he can do both. He can bend well enough to play guard, and he's athletic and long enough to play tackle.
Eventually you see him as a tackle eventually.
Yeah.
You mentioned competitiveness with your top 2 draft picks. You wanted to put a lot of competition in that cornerback room, but how valuable is it to have 2 rookies, kind of similarly graded rookies, competing with each other to get each other better?
Oh, no question. Those two are going to compete. I'm sure Ray Straw thinks he's better. I'm sure Terrion thinks he's better. So they're going to compete. I mean, which is a great thing for us. We want competitive nature. We don't want guys that bow down to people. We want guys to compete that think they're going to win the spot. And I think both of those guys feel like they'll start. Like they got their work cut out for them, though.
I want to ask you about another St. Louis guy, Isaiah Williams. Obviously,
Right.
somebody you guys seem to target as a priority at UDFA. Why, and what do you see?
Well,
as his possibilities?
I know a lot about him too. He was an outstanding little league player there in St. Louis. Went to Trinity Catholic there in St. Louis, and then went on to Illinois. His high school coach coached him from little league. Then he followed him to high school, and then he took him to Illinois to college with him too. But he's a playmaker. A guy with the ball in his hands, a playmaker. He was a quarterback, I think, when he was in little league, but he became a receiver. But I think he'll have a great chance. He'll compete. Now, obviously the slot receiver is pretty much sold up for us, but he'll compete to get a spot. He can return. He can do a lot of things.
You mentioned the competitiveness for quarterbacks for Tyrion and Ennis. How do they maintain that confidence when there's so much competition? When you guys have someone like Carlton, they're going to get burned. They're going to, take their licks. They're going to see the vets come in pretty soon. How do they stay confident in their ability?
I think both of those guys, it's just innate. It's inside of them. I think they got the next play mentality. Well, if they do get beat, all right, I'm gonna make the play the next play. So that's what I mean by that corner swagger. They ain't gonna back down. Getting beat won't hurt them, either one of them. They're gonna come back and compete the next play. So I don't think they'll have an issue with that.
I wanted to ask you about Wingo a little bit more. I know you said a lot already, but very different style defensive tackle than you play, and we know you have an affinity for that position. How have you grown, I guess, in your evaluation of looking at guys that played the game different than you? How have you grown in appreciation for those type of guys?
Well, first of all, the way he plays the game, you appreciate it. He's passionate. He loves the game. He has a chip on his shoulder, and he plays that way. So you love the way he played the game, first of all. And there is some issues. I mean, he's not going to be the guy you just sit in there at nose and hunker down. You're going to have to let him do his game, and he'll be disruptive as a player, just like he was in the SEC. He played it ain't like he played against bad players. He played in the top conference in college football. So, but to answer your question, I don't really have I don't downgrade guys because they didn't play like me or the way we want to play. It's you just love the way he play. The way he plays the game.
With Tyrion, and specifically, but even with Ennis, it's the first time you guys have drafted a true outside cornerback. How important is it for you guys as talent evaluators to have success, to find success on your first outside cornerback that you've drafted?
Well, it's very important, first of all. It doesn't matter if he's an outside corner or he's a guard, he's a tackle. When you draft a guy high, you want him to be successful. So that doesn't matter. But, yeah, unfortunately, we hadn't been able to pick corners, but, other guys were there, better players were there. So the best player was there at this time, and we were able to get 2 corners, which is exciting. And we expect those guys to be good. We really do. We vetted those guys. We feel like those guys got the right intangibles and athletic ability and the ability to play the game that they'll be successful. So.
And Ray, with the new kickoff rule, are you guys looking at that like it's going to be a big play opportunity, and conversely, one you're going to have to defend, and then a little bit further, is it ramp up the number of guys you feel like you have to have on teams?
Oh yeah, no question. It'll be a different type of guy on special teams. And I won't go into all that, but it does open up the door for some returners. The way the game is going to be played, so it opened up the doors where you can have more guys. Some of those quicker guys play kickoff return more than punt return because of the way the game's going.
That's one of the guys that's out here on the field this weekend, the CFL guy that you signed. I don't know if you were involved in the scouting process, that at all, but just you share your first impressions of him so far, and maybe what you'd like to see, hope to see from a guy like that?
Well, I hope he get 18 sacks like he did in the CFL. The best thing about him, when you watch him on tape, and it is what it is, it's the CFL, but the guy wins. The guy get to the quarterback, So it's going to be exciting to see when he starts to go against, NFL guys to see how he play. That's the only chance you'll be able to judge him, as a player.
Wait till the summer then?
Yeah.
The last 2 years, last year in the third round, this year in the fourth rounds, targeted players that you consider developmental players. I'm just wondering philosophically, your thoughts on targeting guys that may not see the field immediately versus maybe targeting guys that could play immediately.
Well, good question, first of all. You never target a guy that you don't think can play, but you know a guy that's going to have some development, and Manu will have some development, but Manu got major ability. It ain't like we getting a player that we don't feel like will be able to play. We feel like Broderick is going to take steps and become a player, and there's going to be players like that you take a chance on, but we're not worried about that. We think Manu and Broderick both will be good players.
How have you seen the International Player Pathway Program develop over the several years it's existed?
I think it's gotten better and it's getting better. There are some talented players from there. It's going to take some time before those guys are on the level that we look for. But you can find a player there. You just got to be willing to look. And now you got to go. You got to do some work, but you got to be willing to look to find a player there.
Go ahead.
Will Faeky do anything on defense this spring, you think? And
Well,
is
that
team-
might be a coach question right there. No, that is a coach question.
But you guys, do you see returnability in him?
Oh, yeah.
Special teams, do you see somebody in the mix there?
Yeah, there's a lot that guy can do. That guy's just a flat-out football player. I mean, when you watch his pro day, the guy did running back drills, he did DB drills, and then he did special team stuff, man, and didn't, breathe, wasn't even breathing hard. So Faeky can probably do almost anything you want to do. We see him as a running back, but our coaches will decide how they'll use him.
Organization, I guess. We saw some pictures of Brian Branch on a knee scooter during the draft and whatnot. Is there a health update you can provide on him?
I'll leave that up to Dan, Brad, and the medical department. But as far as I know, he's fine. All right. Thank you, guys.